Hi, everyone. Jerry Ann Waring here today with Adoption Awareness Live. My apologies. I did a video just a few minutes ago and tried to post it, and because it had Josh Groban and a copyright issue, etc., Facebook would not post it. So I'm not starting my program off with any song by Josh Groban, but I am going to repost what I just did, saying the whole thing all over again, because I think it's that important. Okay. If you notice, I started off by titling this infant found in dumpster because yesterday morning at 6:55, an infant still with the umbilical cord attached, a baby girl, was found in a dumpster. A gentleman found it and reported it to a neighbor. A neighbor called the police, and the baby, last I heard last night, was in fair condition at Dell Children's Hospital. I checked this morning for any updates, and I'm not finding anything. So I guess maybe it'll come on at 6 o'clock tonight. Because what I said before in the other video was what I thought extremely important information, I am going to repeat myself again, and it will be posted. I will not be posting any music. You can bet that. You can bet on that, that's for sure. But I do want to discuss some issues around this little infant girl that was found. So I'm going to go real quickly through this. First of all, I guess one of the questions that comes up is, did this girl know she was pregnant? Did she have any idea? Maybe she was young. Maybe she was 12, 13. Maybe her emotional maturity she might have looked older, but was emotionally immature. And one of the thoughts I had that I didn't mention before, with all the sex trafficking that's going on, and Austin has a big ring, apparently, of sex traffickers, could this girl been a product of sex trafficking and got pregnant? I don't know. But that came to mind. Another thing is drugs. Was she on drugs? Maybe she didn't know she was pregnant, or maybe she did, but maybe she was on drugs at the time that she gave birth. That's another thought. So I'm sure people are saying, what was she thinking? Well, obviously, she was desperate. But I think more, she was probably afraid. Afraid of what? I don't know. I'm throwing out a lot of suppositions out here. So you come up with your own conclusion, and maybe when we hear the news tonight, we'll get some updates. She could have been depressed or had a mental health illness, bipolar. It's very possible. She might have been mentally challenged, to be politically correct, or have some type of mental health issue. So those are thoughts. Those are things to think about. And then what were her options? Did she even know she had options? Abortions are expensive. Maybe she didn't have the money for that. And I'm not pro-abortion, but I'm just throwing that out there. That could have been an option. What about parenting? Well, obviously that was not an option for her. Or did she even know that it could be? Maybe she thought her parents would kill her. Lots of young pregnant moms have said that in the past. My dad will just kill me if he found out I was pregnant. Come to find out, that never happens to anybody that I've ever counseled. So, and then what about PRCs, Pregnancy Resource Centers? There's a lot of them in Austin. There's one in almost every corner practically. I'm kind of exaggerating, but they're not hard to find. So my question to that is, did they even visit a Pregnancy Resource Center? Were they given any options? We'll explore that a little bit more in a little bit. But of course, the other one is adoption. Was that even an option? Was that talked about? If they did go to a PRC, Pregnancy Resource Center, was it ever brought up at all? And so those are questions that I have that came to my mind when I heard about this precious little baby, being thrown in a dumpster. So, I pray for the mom. I pray for that baby that she'll be healthy. And for this poor woman, or whether she's young or middle, younger than me, 30s, 40s, whatever the circumstances are, fear had to have gripped her to do what she did. fear. And now she's probably afraid of the consequences of what she did. So she's in my prayers. So let me ask you a question. Let's say any birth mom, any pregnant mom that goes to a pregnancy resource center, and I'm going to say PRC because it's just easier to say PRC. What kind of services are PRCs offering for these women that come in because they're devastated, they're pregnant, they're very upset, their world is turned upside down, okay, for a lot of these girls. Whatever the circumstances are, whether it was an abusive boyfriend, abusive husband, drugs may have been involved, alcohol, whatever the circumstances are, boyfriend, father may have left. She's there to deal with everything by herself. She doesn't have any money. She's homeless. You can think of a lot of circumstances, I'm sure, as to why. And I always say, unplanned pregnancy to me has always been a crisis pregnancy, because it's not a crisis if the birth father's there, the two of you are together in the situation and you're working it out. It's not a crisis. It becomes a crisis when the opposite is true, okay? So what can PRCs do? And I'm trying to be open-minded here. I know there's a lot of PRCs that present all of the options to birth moms, whether it's parenting, whether it's foster care. I hope they're doing that, because foster care in some cases can be temporary. You can actually place on your own a child into a nonprofit child placing agency. That's why they're called child placing. And that child can be placed into foster care while you work out the details of your life. And it could be 3 months, 6 months, or a year. Unless things have changed, and I don't think they have. A lot of times people think of foster care and they think of the state taking the child away. Well, that's not always the case, okay? Sorry, I was trying to open up, but I guess I can't. Sorry. So foster care is one, parenting is another one. What are the options there? Also abortion, which what PRCs do now is they will educate women on the abortion process, and depending on the stage of your pregnancy, they will tell you what kind of abortions are done, okay? But the other thing, which I am passionate about, is adoption. And I can tell you from the Iowa conference that I just came from, where there were 60 people in attendance from various pregnancy resource centers, there should have been hundreds there. There should have been 1,000 there, if not more. These people that came wanted to learn about adoption, how important it is to implement the education of adoption, knowledge of adoption into your counseling when you're talking to a pregnant client, okay? Now, the expression knowledge is power is extremely true. Because if you don't know anything about adoption, obviously, you're not going to share that with someone who may need to know. So if you're a PRC and you don't know anything about adoption, consequently, no one, your staff, your volunteers, the director, nobody talks about adoption because you don't really have a lot of knowledge about it, I would encourage you, I implore you, please get educated on the subject. Learn as much as you can about adoption. And I want to say, I don't work for an adoption agency. No one has paid me to talk about adoption. It is my passion. I am a consultant, but I do a lot of what I do on a donation-only basis. And I would be more than happy to travel to your PRC, whether it's in Austin or outside of Texas, El Paso. I used to do things there. I'll go back because lots of people in El Paso know me, but I will go to any part of the country to help you educate and train your staff and volunteers about adoption. Everything. Because until you know and confidently can talk about it to your clients, you're not going to feel, and neither is your staff, they're not going to feel comfortable talking about it. And so you're not providing the full services that you should to your pregnant clients. And how shameful is that? How sad is that? Because you may have a birth mother who may need that information to make a knowledgeable and informed decision regarding her pregnancy. Okay? Had anyone not brought it up to me ever, even though I was thinking it, if no one had ever brought it up to me, I don't know what I would have done. But I had also looked at abortion. Couldn't have afforded it. And in retrospect, thank God that I didn't. But I'm just saying that having a crisis pregnancy causes one to think irrationally. They're devastated and they just want to be rid of the situation. And sadly for this person, how old she was, whoever she is, and wherever she is right now, she did a desperate thing. She gave birth somewhere to this child and threw it in the dumpster. And I'm just so sad about that. And I just pray that she never went to a PRC. And I'm not trying to make any PRCs in Austin feel guilty about this topic, about the fact that if you're not talking to birth moms about adoption, please start to. Please get educated. Please call an agency who can come and have somebody come and do a training with you. And also an attorney, because one of the things about talking about adoption is not just the emotional, but it's the legal aspect of it. So I used to do seminars in El Paso where we had an attorney come and speak. We did a day-long seminar, provided a lot of notes, provided a lot of information, even a free lunch. We can do that. We'll do that. I'll put up the money to do that for you if you want me to. But I am here to help you, and I will do it. I will donate my time and my energy and my finances to help you in your PRC to provide the right amount of training, adequate training, so that your staff and your volunteers feel comfortable in talking to a client about adoption. Okay? It's so, so important. I cannot stress it enough. And I'm going really quickly because I'm going out of my time frame, normally 12 o'clock to 12:30. But I do want to add a couple of other things that I was going to talk about originally, which have to do to adoption being a positive experience. And I really hope and pray that those of you who have been through a negative experience will forgive me. I understand those of you who have been through negative experiences, had experiences that were unfortunate, and maybe you felt coerced or forced into making an adoption plan. But I want people to know in the year 2017 that we need to start focusing on 2018 through 2019 and how can we present adoption in a positive way. And there are ways to do it. And adoption, I've said it from the beginning since I started this adoption awareness page in 2009, that adoption can be a positive experience, okay? And the first thing that I want to say, and these are my little talking points here, is the reason that I chose adoption is that I wanted the best for my child. I wanted a family who could give my child and love my child more than I could possibly love him, and give him the things that he needed to know that he was loved and that he belonged, and that he was accepted. Okay. And I'm not saying that I wouldn't have done those things for him, but I was just emotionally not in a position at the time that I gave birth. So when I was pregnant with him, I wanted the best for him and I loved him. That has never gone away. People think that when women make an adoption plan that they don't love their child, and that is just a total lie. Total lie. It's out of love for their child that they make that adoption plan, that they place them for adoption because they did want the best for their child that they couldn't give them at the time. Okay? Number 2, I participated in the choices that I made for my child. And that, let me just tell you, this might take up the rest of the time. And so I'm just going to share this. A lot of the reasons that some women have been hurt by adoption is because they felt coerced. They felt forced. Okay? some went through adoption and had felt that they had no choices. Some went in feeling that I'm just going to do this the way the agency wants me to do it. And that's okay. However, there are choices that you can make. There are expectations that you can have. And if you have to write them down, do some research and then write the questions down. Write your expectations of what you want. I want to be able to talk to my adoptive family every day or once a week before I even have my child. I want to be able to have a visit once or twice with them before I even give birth to my child. Okay. Those are things that I wanted. And I actually talked to my adoptive family just about every day. They lived out of state. They paid for at the time we didn't have cell phones, so it was a long distance phone call. They accepted my collect call and we did that every day. And so I had a meeting one time with the family 2 months before I gave birth, and it really upset my social worker. Highly unprofessional, highly out of policy, as what I was told. It was just highly unusual. But I did it because I didn't do anything immorally wrong. I didn't do anything unethically wrong, but I wanted to have more contact with the family, and they wanted contact with me. So I'm not saying go into an agency and belt out, I want this and I want that. Follow the rules, but tell them what you're expecting too. It's not just one way, because you're carrying the child of a future family that they've been working with for months, maybe even years, okay, that they're going to be getting an adoption fee for. So you do have some wiggle room to call the shots, if you will. And I'm sorry, I'm going to get some agencies probably upset with me, some social workers. I'm so sorry. But I can tell you on the flip side, when I was working with birth moms and counseling them, I let them know that this was possible, that they didn't have to, whatever they were comfortable with is what we did our best to work with them, to make them happy, to let them feel at peace about their decision without feeling that they were forced or coerced in any way possible. Okay? Very, very important. Very, very important. Because when you make an adoption plan, that's exactly what you're doing. You're putting your heart and your soul, your emotions into this whole process. And why not go through it feeling good about it? Why not go through it not having any reservations afterwards or second thoughts or regrets? Do it right. Do it right. Feel good about it. This is your child that you're carrying in your womb, and you want that child to be happy, and you want to be happy. This is not always just about the baby. It's about you too. It's about you not having any regrets, okay? So keep those things in mind. I kind of bounced around my talking points, but one of the things I said is that I was in control of my choices, which kind of does go along with your participation in it. Has to do with your control as well. So the other thing was, and I kind of skipped over, was I wanted my child to feel loved. I wanted my child to feel that he belonged and that he was accepted. And so it was very important to me that the family that I selected had qualities that I would always be happy with, that I fell in love with. So those are all important things, okay? Make a list. And if you need some help in your journey, I'm more than happy to help you. You can private message me and we can have some conversation afterwards, okay? So please keep those things in mind. I do not want to, I want to be available. I want to be available for you. And so if you're struggling in any way and you're new in your adoption process and you really haven't gone out yet to talk to an agency or made any phone calls, please feel free to call on me, okay? To send me an email, send me a private message, I should say. I'm getting tired here. This is the second time I'm talking about this. So listen, I'm going to let you go. I hope this was well understood and it made some sense. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to write me. You can also email me at jerryannw@hotmail.com, and I'll go ahead and send a link to that as well, or the address. Okay? God bless you guys. God bless you so much. Please pray for this precious little baby in the hospital, and also for the birth mom. Pray for that birth mom, wherever she may be, whatever she's struggling with right now. She's in my heart and in my prayers, that's for sure. God bless you all, and we'll see you all next week. Take care. Thanks for your patience. Bye-bye.